42, 44. I think I was counting that wrong. It's not important. This is for a project anyway. But counting all this change got me thinking. I have a confession to make. I'm a woodworking cheapskate. It's not because I want to be, but really, it's just such an expensive hobby that if you're not careful, you could blow a lot of money out here really fast. So I've got a few rules that might help you save a little coin in the shop as well. Rule number 1, keep everything. You never know when you're going to need a little piece of dowel. Keep it. Aluminum nails. You never know. Bags of confetti. I've still got my confetti. I've still got a piece that I used for a test. That's like $6 worth of epoxy. I'm not throwing that out. My epoxy, almost completely empty. And these are expensive. It was like 75 bucks for this. If you want to know how to burn through a large amount of epoxy in a short period of time, try gluing 400 pages of a book together. That'll do it just fine. I only have a single hand drill. I'm going to make sure that I squeeze every bit of life out of it. That doesn't sound healthy. Because there's no way I'm going to just buy a second one when this one still works. Mostly. Bolts. Odd bits and pieces. I don't know. I never know. This was off a sofa that I disassembled. You never know. We might have some project for this. Rule number 2. What's rule number 2? Buy things cheap. It is easy to spend money on things you need in the shop. I would love a brand new Tormac. I would love it, but I can't afford it. So I started with plate glass and sandpaper. Mix your own finishes. If you're a wood turner, friction polish. A bottle of friction polish will cost you about 25 bucks. It's nothing. There's nothing magical in friction polish. It's 1/3 denatured alcohol, 1/3 boiled linseed oil, and 1/3 shellac. It's very inexpensive to mix your own friction polish, and it works fantastically. You can also use lacquer, half lacquer, and half lacquer thinner, and you can get a great friction polish out of that. You want to know the best kept secret in woodworking? Bargain box of sandpaper. This is it, from Klingspor. They sell their bulk sandpaper in a bargain box for $20. This is high quality sandpaper with hook and loop back. You can buy it in the disc form from Klingspor, or you can get the bargain box. You don't know what you're going to get inside. I've got 80 grit, 100 grit, 400 grit, 120, 120, and 100. So I've got a lot of 100, but I also have plenty of 400. So instead of spending however much money on these little circles, you get it in a roll. There you go. Here's a pad of 100. I don't know. Spend an hour making a whole bunch of them, fill up your stock, you're good. And you're set for a little while. I buy my tools cheap. I think all these tools in here came from Craigslist. They're all Craigslist tools. And people don't always do that. Whenever you go on Craigslist and buy a rusty old tool, you know, they'll put it up there and it'll be this disgusting, rusty old tool. I went to this guy's house for a 6-inch jointer, and it was in a wheelbarrow, in pieces, covered in rust. And he had it up for $45. I offered him $40, and he took it. But he said to me, he said, I'm going to take this, but I could probably get a lot more for that. And then I explained to them how I do a restoration. Well, it's a piece of cake. You strip this thing down, take pictures as you go, so you make sure you got all the parts in the right places. You need to sand down the cast iron, Scotch-Brite pad, WD-40, and a morbid sander. I said, then I prime the whole thing, I paint it, put it back together. You could sell this for double, 100 bucks. And then they say, yeah, go ahead and take it. Take wood where you can find it. So there's a local gun stock manufacturer, and they sell their cutoffs, 50-pound bag for $9. They sell it as firewood. Coworker, his pear tree came down in a storm. So we went over there, we chainsawed it all up, and I've got probably a garage half full of his tree. This is just the branches. I've got giant 16-inch rounds, but I've been making bowls and handles and everything else I can out of it. So, you know, don't say no to found wood. I could take this, or even larger pieces like some of the rounds, and turn it into usable lumber on the bandsaw. Third rule of the shop. I don't like to spend money in the shop that doesn't come from the shop. If it doesn't come out of the shop, it doesn't go into the shop. And there's ways to make the shop pay for itself. I do a lot of table flips. I go on Craigslist, I look for free tables. When they get to be a certain size, you know, the wife says, "Get that out of the house!" And the guy's like, "I don't know what to do, nobody wants it." So they put it up on Craigslist for free. And the tops are usually in bad condition. And so are the bases, but I never touch the base. I strip the top down, I sand it down to 150 grit, and then I build the finish back up, put it up on Craigslist, and wait. And sometimes they sell in a day, and sometimes they sell in 3 weeks, but they always sell. I've never ever had to give one away. And I've financed a lot of projects in the shop just from table flips. There's deals to be had out there. There's ways to make a wood shop pay for itself, and there's ways to have fun in your shop without spending a lot of money. And I'm a cheapskate not because I want to be, but because I want to work in the shop and I can't afford not to be a cheapskate. You hear about that every once in a while. Somebody wins the lottery and they keep doing their regular job. They're like, "The lottery's not going to change my life. I won the lottery, but I still like collecting garbage. I'm a good garbage collector and I'm going to keep at it." Why are you even playing the lottery? What are you doing playing the lottery? There's some of us out there that would know what to do with a couple $1 million in our pocket. You need to stop buying a ticket, Rufus, because you're screwing things up for the rest of us. Rufus. Getting real tired of your crap, Rufus. Real tired.